Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today on the show, it's my pleasure to have powerhouse investor, educator, published author, and visionary founder of Homes. Am I pronouncing that right, Hussain?
Hey, H.A. Holmes, my nephews.
H.A. Homes. I said Homes. It's H.A. Homes with over 10 million in annual transactions for 5 consecutive years and 150 plus properties flipped. He's a proven leader in real estate. Hussain Abdullah. Hussain, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Dylan. Appreciate you.
It's a pleasure to have you here. And I always like to start off at the top. How did you get into the real estate space?
I started out because somebody gave me the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad when I was about 19. And then I opened my first CDs, certificates of deposit. And then a couple years later, when I moved back to New York City, I'm sorry, I was living in Minneapolis at the time, and everybody had homes and boats and everything. And then when I got back to New York, I was like, I don't want to rent. I don't want to, stay in that situation. So I tried to purchase a property. I realized that properties in Minneapolis versus New York City are very different. And long story short, I ended up buying a co-op
Yeah.
apartment with credit cards along with a partner when I was 23.
So you got in very early. At that point in time, were you a teacher at that point in time?
No, when I came back to New York, it was to start school. So at that time, I was an assistant teacher, actually. I worked my way up. I ended my public school career as an administrator. I was a math coach for the last 5 years of my career.
Well, God bless, because I know the public schools, I know New Jersey public schools, I was in northern New Jersey, like we discussed, and you were in Brooklyn. Was that where your whole education career was, in Brooklyn?
Primarily, and I worked in a couple of different districts within Brooklyn. For those who don't know, New York City is the largest school district in America. There are over 2.5 million students in the New York City public school system, and that includes charter, parochial, and then just your regular PSIS. But at the end of my career, when I was a staff developer, part of what I did was I bounced around and helped schools in other areas work on their test scores and teaching teachers how to understand math better and that sort of thing.
So let's talk about having a W-2 job while being a real estate investor. So you have the first property that you did before you were a teacher, and then you're a teacher. Are you still doing both? Are you managing both, or did the real estate take a back seat? How did it work?
No, I actually was able to retire from teaching at the age of 37 because my real estate portfolio is doing so well. And now this is in 2019. That's before the boom.
Wow.
So my strategy was if I had enough rental properties to double my salary, then I could afford to retire. because, your rent roll, things could break, have a vacancy. So I said I need to double my salary so that I can walk away comfortably. And
Now, I think a lot of people who have a W-2 job would like to invest in real estate. You mentioned with credit cards was your first deal. I think not everyone has the courage to do it the way that you did it. Was there anyone that while you were a teacher that was coming to you who maybe heard about or saw what you were doing in the real estate game and said, "Hey, Hussain, how do I get involved in real estate?"
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
absolutely. And please do not try to buy property with credit cards. You have to really know what you're doing. There's a lot of moving parts. I will say I did just buy a mobile home park with credit cards with a lot larger amount. But again, please don't try this at home. You can get hurt. To answer your question, along the way, I had a bunch of people in my ear. I think nowadays everybody says, I have a mentor, I have a coach. I'm old, so we didn't have Instagram, TikTok. Encarta on discs, was a step up when I was already involved in real estate. But I did have a bunch of people who helped me along the way, and I did have a bunch of people who were interested in investing with small amounts of money. Because being from New York, when I started to invest in Texas, you could purchase a home. At that time, we were buying condos in Houston for $50,000, $60,000.
Yep.
So I could go to somebody and get $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, and that ended up being 3, 5, 10, 15% of the purchase. So their money was really working for them.
Were
So
you
yeah,
having a lot of were you having a lot of teachers come to you? Was it people that you were interacting with at your job, or was it a little bit less of that?
there's a lot less than that. I think I'll say this just to generalize. Teachers, city workers, people like that are often skeptics. And I will say, at the time, just to be fair, this is me speaking after 20 years of experience in real estate. When you start, let's take me at age, I'm 43 now. So let's say I was 30 back then at the time. If I have one property, maybe two properties, it's really hard for me to tell you, hey, Dylan, I know you have 10 grand in the bank. Why don't you invest with me 10 grand? I'm buying stuff in Houston, a place you've never been. I'm still at work with you. So how convincing can I really be if I'm doing so well, but
Yeah.
I'm still at work with you?
You.
I noticed that when I retired, my uptick in investors and clients and friends and family calling me skyrocketed because they were like, "Wait, you retired? You walked away from $100,000 a year, including, some overtime? You walked away from that, full benefits, everything, because you're doing so good in real estate? I got to get involved with this now." So for anybody who's going to watch this podcast, who's just starting out, or who's trying to work on the people that they know, don't be offended when people tell you no. It's not that they don't trust you, it's they don't trust the process because you don't have proof of concept yet. Once you break your first million, 5 million, 10 million, or 20 doors, or whatever the number is that satisfies them, you're gonna notice that you're gonna get a lot more feedback. You charge them more, of course, but you know.
Now, when you retired, I'm curious, what is the typical retirement age for teachers in the area that you're in? I mean, you were young, but what's the typical?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors. and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Oh, actually, let me use the proper term because I'm a retired union rep. So you technically cannot retire. Like I can't pull money out of my retirement until I'm at least 55. So technically, I still have 12 more years to retirement. So I resigned. I moved away at age 37. But typically, if you don't count teachers that burn out within the first 5 years, if you're talking about a long-term person,
Yeah.
they work until they're 60, 65. And in America now, there's been an uptick of 70-year-olds working because what happens is when people retire, they don't realize how expensive it is to really retire, and they
Yeah.
end up having to go back to work to supplement their income.
And you're talking about one of the, I don't know about Brooklyn specifically, but just New York, I know, is one of the more expensive places maybe on earth. And so, teacher, I mean, teacher, we need many teachers, but teacher salary, I don't know if it's keeping up all the time with inflation. So, if you're dealing with inflation in one of the five major boroughs, I mean, I just can't imagine it's that easy to retire. I'm curious, maybe pivoting a bit here, and I don't know how often you think about this. How feasible is it for teachers to retire, let's say in their 50s and 60s, and live off of their what they've saved if they're not investing in real estate?
I'm gonna use your term just just for conversation. You said save.
Yeah,
No one is retiring off savings because saving means money in Chase Manhattan, Capital One. You're losing money every year because you can't keep with inflation.
right.
Now, investing, that's a whole different conversation. I think if you're a young person and you're going to listen to this, you have to start investing in your retirement early. If you're not going to become a landlord, because that's a very tough task, maybe you have to diversify. You have to find a REIT, which is a real estate investment trust, a trade group, some sort of organization like mine, where you can pool funds, they do the heavy lifting, and you get a dividend. It's going to be impossible for anyone, teachers, whoever, to retire if they don't invest because Social Security is not going to be here. Pensions are done. So
Yeah.
if you're living off of what you put away and you don't put away anything, it's just going to be impossible. You're going to
What
go
do you
to your
what do you think about the let's talk about investing, right? So if you do, let's say, an index fund or however you're investing, you're getting 12%, 11, 12% annually. But I don't know how much you need to be putting aside in order to retire. I mean, I don't know what the number is. Is it 2 million? Is it 4 million that you need to retire in Brooklyn? I don't know. How long are people going to live for? So I'm thinking like how realistic is it even if you are doing the investing for you to stop working completely and live off of your investments in your 50s or early 60s if you're a teacher in that area?
Well, let's say this. In my age group, and I was born in 82, so that makes me a millennial. My life expectancy as a man is like 67 on average.
Hmm.
So let's say people retirement age 55, that gives me 12 years. If I lived off of 100,000 a year, let's say anywhere in America outside of the big five cities, I'd do okay with 100,000 a year.
Yeah.
So that would mean I would need 1.2 billion in my account to maintain a pretty decent life. And let's also assume that I don't have a mortgage, and that's a big bill that I don't have. Now, 1.2 is very easy to get. If you invested $100 a month, and I'm gonna like round these numbers, but you could Google this and fact check it. The actual stat is if you save $3 a day for 365 days a year, so on and so forth, and you got 10% interest, that you end up with about $550,000. Now that's only $1,200 a year, $1,100 a year. So if you save 5,000 a year and you got 10% and you continue to do it, you'd have about $4 or $5 million. But you have to start young.
You do.
So if you start at 18, 19, 20, by 55, you'll have a few million. You should do just fine. Now, if you're born in 2000 and you're going to become 18, 19, 20 now, your life expectancy is closer to 82, 83. So now you got to survive, 20 years, give or take 20, 25 years. So, and then you adjust it for inflation. So you need at least $4 million
No,
to
I
live in America. Sorry for that pause. Anywhere in America. In the five cities, like New York City, California, Los Angeles, Chicago, the big cities, I mean, you easily need $250,000. So if you want to live there, you need about 8 to 10 million in your retirement account.
yeah, I mean, let's talk about. I mean, how much do you need to survive in that part of Brooklyn? Yeah, annually.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Well, I live downtown. I live in a place called Clinton Hill. I lived right up the street from Barclays. I lived in a full panoramic apartment where I could see all the bridges and all these things. So I was doing all right. And you got to remember, at that point, I had already owned several properties. So it wasn't just my teaching income, it was my business, it was my rentals, all of these types of things. So I wasn't just living off my salary. And then my wife at the time was also a teacher and worked in healthcare administration. We had a mortgage. So we were able to save and invest, save, sorry, save and invest and do things. So we weren't the norm, especially at the age of 30.
Yeah.
But no, the average person is not gonna do that. And I also didn't have student loan debt. She didn't have student loan debt. Her parents paid for her school, and the city paid for my education. So I didn't have to pay for school.
Now, the average person, I mean, what's it cost to survive out there if you're renting a place, food, transportation annually?
It's ridiculous. I think they say you need something like $150,000 to just survive. A one bedroom in a decent neighborhood is $3,000. And then we got taxes. So you pay state tax, city tax, and federal tax. So if you're making 100,000 a year, 40 to 41,000 of that is gone just in taxes. You got union dues. You have if you're trying to retire. So let's say half your check is gone. Now you got 50 grand. Let's just make it 52 to make the conversation simple. So that is 5 grand a month would be 60 grand. 48 is 4 grand a month. So you make 4,500 a month. Your rent is already 2,500 a month. You got 2 grand to live off of. Now, if you have student loans, $100,000 student loan is $1,100. Groceries for one person, you got to get at least 200 a week, at least 800. You
Yeah,
got lights, you got water. I
you're
mean, you
go-
got
you're
Wi-Fi,
done.
you got cell phone. You don't even have transportation is 200 a month. I mean, you are broke. You are broke, broke, broke if you factor in student loans. I mean, that's why so many young people stay home or they get roommates. You have to have a roommate to live in New York.
It's. I mean, I know. I'm not even from there, but I'm from New Jersey, and every time I think about going back, to be closer to family, I just look at what home prices are out there, and I don't know the exact numbers, but I know what they are out here in Dallas. Like a nice home, brand new build, you can get for mid 300,000s, mid 400,000s. I don't even know what that would get you where I'm from in New Jersey, in northern New Jersey. I have no idea, and I'm sure it's even more, heightened 10x maybe, not 10x, but something along those lines in
Yeah, you
Brooklyn.
live in a place like, which is right next to you, kind of like Newark, Linden,
Yeah.
Rahway. I mean, Hoboken is through the roof right now, especially if you're going to build a tunnel.
Yeah.
In Brooklyn, you could live in a bad neighborhood and get a two-bedroom condo for 450. In a place
So
where you don't feel safe, you can pay 450, and then you got to pay HOA, which is about $200 a month.
So pivoting a bit here, I want to get into the mindset of you were young, doing real estate teaching as well, but you saw I'm passionate about real estate. You saw this is maybe where my future is, maybe where my retirement is. How come you went that route where you mentioned the skepticism? I think a lot of people too, you think about a very more or less stable job, stable career, but you went a route that not a whole lot of people go down. What do you think it was? Was it just the way that you tick? What made you go that route?
I think there's a lot of contributing factors. There's always a discussion of nature versus nurture. So I fell into education because my mom was a public school teacher. My father was a businessman,
There you go.
so it kind of just makes sense. And he also was an educator because he was a martial arts instructor. So I got education from both sides. I got business at a young age, and I also have gang of siblings. So being competitive, having tough skin, being able to deal with headaches and stress on a high level, because I'm the middle. I got two older siblings, and I got four younger. So like, yeah,
You
it's a lot. And being from New York, it's tough already. So like, you know,
Yeah, you need a lot of that. I'd say definitely to be a school teacher. People think I'd say about the real estate space that it's passive, that it's hands off. I can say without owning, I don't have any deeds in my name or an LLC that I own here soon. I hope to have some, but it's anything but that because especially what I'm doing with real estate wholesale. You're solving other people's problems, and at the end you may get an assignment fee for your efforts, but a lot of what I'm doing is just solving other people's problems. And when it comes to investing and providing housing for people, that's what it is. And then now you're responsible for, if they're running it out, for maintaining the place and responding to their needs. And so passive is difficult to do unless you have a great team in place. So I understand the skepticism from other people, but at the same point in time, being from that area, not too far from where you're from, I also feel like it's so hard to retire. It's so hard to just survive out there. We talked about the cost of life, that without the real estate game, I feel like it's riskier not to be involved in real estate because then you're dependent on, the market doing well. What happens if when you're set to retire, 50% of your portfolio gets wiped and now you have to do another, 3 to 5 years? Well, there goes 3 to 5 years of your life, right? So to me, it's like get involved in real estate. I want as many teachers to be involved in real estate as possible. I want as many people to be involved in real estate as possible, because that'll really set them up for a trajectory where their wealth is appreciating faster than really anything else.
can I ask you a question or two?
Yeah, go ahead.
First off, if you don't mind, how?
31.
Okay, I was gonna assume in 30 is good. That's one. You said something, and we could talk about this off screen, whatever.
Hell, let's do it.
You said you don't have an LLC. That's crazy to me. So I'll help you get an LLC today. Show you how easy it is to do that. One of the things I teach, because I'm still a teacher, is all these tax strategies. Now, this is something I put out publicly. I don't like to do it too publicly, but it is what it is. It's public record. You live in Texas. You know Texas franchise taxes. You've heard of that.
Yeah.
So, for those who don't know, I mean, I pay franchise taxes every year. 5 years in a row, year six just happened. 6 years, no, 5 years in a row, I pay franchise taxes. I have not paid income taxes 5 years in a row. So what that means is the school teacher in Texas that makes $40,000 pays more a year in taxes than myself, who I'll let y'all Google it. Google how much you have to earn in the state of Texas to make and pay franchise taxes, and I get a tax refund every year. So Dylan, first up, we got to get you an LLC. You're young, so here goes the actual question. This is the build-up. This is me working on my podcasting.
Yeah.
How did you learn about wholesale?
So I was selling cars working for Nissan, and I saw the price of my rent. I lived in a nice apartment in San Antonio. By the way, we're talking about apartment. I had a nice uh, one-bedroom apartment, brand new updated kitchen, brand new bathroom. We had two pools and two gyms on like a sprawling campus in really just outside the center of San Antonio. I shouldn't say just outside, but it was within the city limits of San Antonio in a nice area, and I was paying $1,300 a month. Okay. So then I saw it go up to 1,400, then about 1,500. And I said, well, they're increasing rents like every year. So how do I keep up with this? And I felt like I like where I'm at, but also, man, this is a lot of money. Like I'm eating so much of my check away is doing this. And I'm thinking, well, what do I do? And then I'm working long hours. If you know anybody in the automotive space, specifically in the dealer world, I mean, you're practically living there. If you're at a major dealer, I was at the number one Nissan dealer in South Texas, between Austin and San Antonio was the number one spot. And so I was living there. I was there from about 8 a.m. up until about 10 or 10:30 at night, Monday through Friday, and then and Sundays from about 9:30 up until 7:30. So I was like, man, this is really not a whole lot of free time, and I feel like I'm not building real wealth. I was seeing a lot of people kind of make a lot of money, but then have no savings. So long story short, I said, what do I do? And I was hearing all about the different ways where you could get involved in real estate, and wholesale was just the one that I happened to get lucky enough to get involved with.
Can I? You said you heard about it. How'd you hear about it?
So there was two ways. I heard this term like cash for keys. Had no idea what that meant, but really that, people will refer to that as like subject to an existing mortgage. And then I was also hearing about this term like assignment of contract. And I was seeing this probably on Instagram. Wasn't a big TikTok user at the time. Saw it on Instagram. But then what also happened was I had a job that I applied to, which I didn't really know what it was. It was involved in the real estate space. Took a big pay cut to go do that job. And what they were was they were a big box, wholesale company. So that's how I got more involved in it.
Okay, so that's one thing, and I was trying to get it. This is me being a teacher.
Yeah.
So what happens is y- anybody, but really it's a young person's game. You have access to everything. So like I was wholesaling and I didn't know the word wholesale existed. I didn't know that's what I was doing. I had done subject twos and I didn't know that's what it was called. It just was a good idea. And everybody else in China or whoever else knew what it was, they were just processing the paperwork. So any young person, there's no excuse. You watch this podcast, I don't know what's up to this. Write it down. Go Google it. Come to my channel. Come to this channel. Watch the rest of the podcast. You will learn everything you need to know to get you started. And then to
Yep.
fast forward yourself, you work with a mentor or something like that. But I just had to ask, to go back to your last question, or your last comment where you said everybody should own or you wish everybody could. The reality is, and this is for the young people watching this, everybody won't. I had a class last night. If you look on my Instagram, well, this by the time this comes out, it'll be old, but I'm sure I'll have some classes. 20 people in there, teens and everything, all the way up to 60 somebody years. I could talk to 1,000 people. Only 10 of them, only 100 of them are going to take it next step. And out of that 100, only 10 of them are going to stay consistent.
Yep.
1% to 5% are going to keep going. Because, like, as you said, and as you know, Dylan, wholesale is very rough. Real estate is very rough. Being a landlord is very rough. Most people are going to stop once they hit their first roadblock. And that creates opportunities for those of you who could stay the course because everybody else is going to be a tenant. Everybody's not going to be a homeowner. It's going to be more and more difficult. Even right now, if you're trying to buy a home, you're competing with people like myself, and I'm a small fry. You can't compete with me. You just can't. If you're saving money and trying to get in a house and I'm offering cash, like you can't beat me. Or a big company like BlackRock, they
Yep.
can pay over and change the demographics of the neighborhood, price people out. Like it's going to be impossible. Everybody was never meant to be a homeowner. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure you're on the other side because the disparity between rich and poor is growing. Middle class basically doesn't exist anymore. You either have it or you don't. If you want to be on that other side, learn, play the game, jump in early because you're going to be broke more likely than not. 70% of Americans are broke.
I agree with you. I think it may be tough to bite off, a big bite early on and get involved in real estate, but it's not like other investments, right? So a lot of times people will think, well, I bought a car and it's not like that. Or they'll think, I went to school and, it's again not like that. These are again huge investments, school, car, but with the school, you may spend the first 5 years outside of school where you're not feeling like you're earning enough, so the return isn't there. 5 years after you buy a real estate investment, you should have some equity in that home if you bought it right. If you paid at full ask at the top of market or above, you may not. But 5 years after you buy real estate, you should have some equity, maybe sooner than that. And definitely you can't compare it to a car or anything that's going to depreciate. So my thing is, to your point, not everyone's going to do it, but let's see how many people we can. Hussain, we are coming up on time here. Where can folks go to learn more about your business and also to get a hold of you?
You can find me everywhere. I mean, everywhere. Just by searching HA Homes US. That's Instagram. That's YouTube. Subscribe, smash that subscribe button. Facebook, our website, and TikTok. And TikTok is more fun. It's just me going all over the place eating food. It's still some real estate, but it's really the best pizza in the world. We go all over and get pizza because when we're looking at real estate in different places. So HA Homes US, easiest way to find me. I'm sure the links will be down in the comments or something. We look forward to talking to you and working with you and helping you along your investment journey.
Hussain, thank you so much for coming on the show. Congrats on all your success and to your continued success.
Thank you very much, Devin. Same to you, and I can't wait for you to get your LLC in a couple weeks.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.